Hey, everyone, let me just cut in here to the Snarkcast for a moment. This was such a great day. I just have to burst into song. So, here we go. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant performance. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, girl, let me tell you,
What, girlfriend?
it came from the heart. And I know I slayed that girl.
You slayed that girl. So
I'm
great.
telling you, girlfriend. Welcome. It's the slightly too friendly Snarkcast with Mama Snark and Snark Jr. Before you do anything, before you listen to another word, hit the like, subscribe, hit that little bell for the notifications so you never miss a posting from us. Because God forbid, girl, how are you today?
And freaking tastic. Mostly because I did not sleep with two different men last night, or at least thought I slept with two different men last night, or hallucinated a face change with the person I slept with last night.
It was a busy night. We had the longest grand reopening we've ever had. We've also had the longest hour of Jordan just laying around unconscious before they even got her onto a gurney to go to the hospital. What a week. It feels like so much happened, yet not much happened.
There was a line after the accident. I think Curtis was talking to Chase and explaining what was going on. And Curtis goes, I woke up and the first thing I did is I checked for a pulse to see if she was alive. And she was. I'm like, well, duh. It's just
we did the old standby. Was there anyone else on the scene there to help you?
No, just
a men's flashback of Valentine showing up to the rescue.
It was just Bigfoot.
No, I got her out of the car. Yeah.
Hilarious.
It was a night of people chugging wine, Brooklyn, and then racing down to the grand reopening.
Okay, so
Charlotte and Danny driving around, crashing cars. Isaiah, we're not quite sure if anything happened on his way to Lulu's. Everybody was like a suspect.
It was a busy night. If you weren't driving, you were having sex. And it was like that pretty much covered everything that was happening in Port Charles.
And if you weren't having sex, you were driving.
Right. It was just...
And missing performances. I mean, Ava, who pops in to a pub to say hi to somebody and sorry to miss your performance because I didn't want to intrude?
It's kind of like Trina saying to her dad and Jordan, you can't come. And of course, that means they were out getting run over. You know, it was just a weird week.
I think the only other time I have ever seen someone look at another person while they were driving that long, like Jordan was looking at Curtis, was in the 1946 movie, The Postman Always Rings Twice. When the couple's all happy, they're going to start over, and they look at each other, and they look a little too long, and then she's like, look out! Crash. That was General Hospital this week.
Well, at least on the Big Bang Theory, when Penny was driving and she wasn't looking where she was going, Leonard was screaming, look at the road! Look at the road! No one was saying that this week. No, it was yeah. And then we had Saint Willow, Saint Congressional Willow.
Yeah.
Just so kindly explaining to Brooklyn and Chase that because of her, they now get to foster baby Phoebe. Although, will they? Because, we really looked at that wine bottle a long time before they panned away.
Did the social worker instruct Willow to finish up the questioning since she couldn't do it? Go tell them that they can have the baby, but make it conditional. Just make sure that they're not too attached.
To this
baby. Know that they're just fostering it, and then you can grant them temporary custody.
I think the term I used was she was upset because they hadn't picked their baby out of the general pool. They had a specific baby, and they were not okay with that. Oh,
And Brooklyn's still like steaming and fuming when Chase walks Willow out.
oh, I know. This,
He's got issues.
they all that marriage is not long for this life. Let me
No,
tell you.
no.
Okay. And speaking of couples rearranging, we've been talking kind of offhandedly about how it looks like they were giving Dante and Elizabeth chem tests. Dante's a lone man in the wilderness right now. He's wandering around without a partner, but
Yeah.
there are lots of potentials for him down the road. Liz is only one. When Brooklyn and Chase break up, will Brooklyn and Dante get back together? I don't know. There was somebody else I was thinking about the other day that I thought, oh, I bet they put Dante with her. And I don't remember. Oh, well, there's lots of people wandering around that he could potentially be paired with.
How about Jacinda?
Ah,
Dante and Jacinda.
I think the next person Jacinda's going to get involved with is Mrs. I didn't wear a bra and my dress stayed on.
Well, we
That
know
was
that. We know that. That's all.
That's like people. If anyone is
Sure.
disagreeing with our plot whispering that Jacinda and Chrissy are going to get together in some way or form, you are not reading the. You are
And
being
it's gonna
Jack
be
Lennon right now and not
it's gonna
reading
be
the room.
sudden, like Carly and Val. It's gonna be that, just like they're
Yeah,
talking, it's a heated conversation, and then like smash burger.
yeah.
But why do we have to have these endless scenes of Michael? I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're friends. I'm so glad we're all friends. I'm so glad of this. I'm so happy. I find out new things about you every day. I'm so happy. I'm so tired of people being so happy and announcing it.
Announcing it. We covered a lot of different things. Yes, granted, the accident kind of took up most of the last part, and then Okay, let's talk about open mic night, shall we?
Yeah.
I mean, we just
The grand
mocked.
reopening. Yeah.
Yeah, we just mocked Jacinda's non-performance in the opening, but Trina I thought she did a good job. And I don't always feel that way about Trina's singing. So she's had some lessons. She did a great job. And there you
But
go.
do
It was
we
just a
we
dumb
still
song.
do not know what that song was about.
It was, well, what it was probably a song that Frank's friend wrote and said, hey, you don't even have to pay me for this. Just put it out there because, yeah, that was weird.
I mean, it was just all, I'm not alone. I'm brave. I'm safe. I'm in my safe space. I'm brave. I'm not alone. I'm in that safe space. I'm going to sing about that safe space again
And rhyme it with ground.
and rhyme it with ground or be. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, that was something. So we've got Charlotte and Danny out on the highway doing whatever, going fast. So they may
Yeah.
even be the ones who.
And does Danny even have his learner's permit? Why was he driving?
I don't know. I don't know.
And Charlotte, once again, doesn't care. It's like she
No,
wrecks her car, no big deal. And then Carly has to make this big deal out of covering it up, sending it to Corinthos Motors and
with
leaving no
Tony.
paper trail.
By the way, my mechanic's name is also Tony, and he can't get things fixed overnight, especially if you have to order parts, you know? Yeah, we were, half the page was like, wait, when did Sonny buy a tow truck company and auto repair?
We've got Corinthos Coffee. We've got Corinthos Towing. Let's see,
Corinthos
what else?
car
do we need?
repair.
All we need is Corinthos Bookstore, and I think you and I would be set for life. We can
Totally.
buy
If
all
you
our
bring,
books at the Corinthos Bookstore.
unless I have one other need, I need Corinthos yarn and craft store, and then I'd be happy. So we've got Willow. We talked about her weird revelation, her sudden epiphany about Kai and Trina. That's going to boil over in not a very good way, in spite of Trina's #1 hit now that she's sung on the open mic night. Kai he's going to get in
Well,
trouble.
I mean, I hate to say it, but, the way Willow's acting, Trina's going to be #1 with a bullet.
Yeah, boy, Although, does she suspect Trina, or she suspects both of them? Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, there's a lot
Yeah.
of hubbub and buzz online about Willow now targeting Kai. Like, is she going to set Kai up to make it look like he was the one who, and again, and in that case, why wouldn't Kai just take the baseball bat and whack Drew? Why shoot him? But,
Right.
and it's a shame because I'm starting to like that actor.
Me
He's
too.
finally settling into the role. He's gotten much, much better. I don't mind him. And now he may be the one to go.
Joss and Trina and their boyfriends, they don't have a great track record
Hey,
keeping the boys alive.
but we did get a Vaughn mention this week.
We
Carly
did. I
Ashton.
noticed
Yeah,
that.
I was so excited. We got a Vaughn mention. It's about time to bring him back. He's finished his Christmas movie that's going to come out this December. He can come back. Maybe he comes back to save the day with Joss.
A character can come on. They can create a character which they think is just going to be around for 1 or 2 episodes. Sometimes those characters hang around a little bit longer. For example, Jacinda is one who hung around a little bit longer, right? And we were talking to Paolo Presta yesterday in his role on General Hospital. He was cast and they gave him that role for several weeks and he ran through the summer. So you just don't know. And then others, they show up and they're like, great, you were fantastic. Thank you. We'll never see you again.
So the nurses' ball might be coming up soon. And Mama suggested that Paolo would make a great red carpet host. And I agree. And bring him back as his old character, Doug Mancino. And, he went from the pizza shop to local celebrity. He could even be national celebrity.
Yeah.
Mixing it up with Lucy Coe. Wouldn't that be great?
It would. We're going to take a second and just talk about our conversation with him this week. We have released this to our paying subscribers and our patrons. And eventually we will put it out to the public because this was truly one of the more delightful conversations I've ever had with anyone. He was absolutely adorable and wonderful and clever.
Just watch the interview. It speaks
Watch
for
and
itself.
enjoy. Yes.
Right. He's a delight. But we love him here at the Snark. So,
We do.
But I really want him to come back and, it's like, come on, Frank, you could do this. Sometimes Frank really comes through, or, hey, I'll even take a Chris Van Etten retcon that Doug Mancino was really one of Tracy's secret sons that she had. There's Dylan, there's Ned, and there's Doug. We could have Doug.
Doug. Well, we can write anyone into journal. Send your name in and we'll figure out how to put you into the plot too.
So let's go back to this whole Val, Carly, Jack thing. When she was dreaming that she's seeing Valentine's face, that got weird.
Well, yes. It was
poor Val is down there brooding downstairs, drinking. He doesn't know what to do, so he just leaves.
What do you do when you're sitting there with your secret girlfriend and you say, I really want you to break up with your public boyfriend so that you and I can have our secret relationship? And she's like, I don't know. Oh, look, here he is. Hang on. I'll get right back to you, Valentine. I just need to go upstairs and have a little business time with Jack.
Yeah, I just don't get that because they've been acting like they broke up years ago. And then he shows up. And she's like, I've got nothing to say to you unless you have news about Jason. And he's like, I have news about Jason. And it was news. It wasn't great news. It was just like, here's where he is. Yeah. So let's go make love now.
There was a moment there when Jack is pouring out his heart to her. And you can, again, Laura Wright, you could see all of the decision-making on her face, and she's going through she knows Val is right outside. She knows this guy is Jack is her key to Jason and Joss's safety. And you could tell Jason won. And that's why she went with Jack.
And what's all this stuff about Trina not wanting anybody to come to the hospital to not bother people? Like, you're not going to tell your Aunt Stella
Oh,
Curtis
well,
was in
that's
a car
probably a
accident?
good idea. That's
And then
probably good.
meanwhile, Portia's like waffling. Well, I don't want to go to the hospital unless you want to go to the hospital. Isaiah, who once he's apart from Portia, acting more like Isaiah.
Yeah.
It's only when he gets with Portia, like, well, maybe we should go down there. Okay, maybe not. All right, let me go get changed. Oh, wait, no, I'm not going to go get changed. Stop
It
waffling, you
Well,
two.
and the other thing that bothered me about that was Portia was like, when he came back to the cabin after being gone, she knew he went to treat a patient. Why is she like scared to be in the woods by herself? Why is she being so clingy? And I had to call the hospital to see where you were. And da, 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 da. Turn on the news, Portia. You would have seen there was an accident and he probably had traffic problems.
Well, this whole thing, you were gone a long time. They established this week, and of course, it will be recapped, that Isaiah was a 40-minute drive from Lulu. So 40 minutes to get there, 40 minutes to get back. That's almost an hour and a half. God knows how long he spent with Rocco looking at him, but it's like, we're talking maybe 2.5 hours, Portia. And you're right. Yeah, she's hitting the panic button. It's like, calm
She's,
down, girl. Go decorate that nursery.
the other thing I want to talk about is the way Isaiah's treatment of Rocco's potential blood poisoning. He's like, Lulu says, we can't take him to the hospital because people will ask questions. And Isaiah's like, no problem. I'll just give him a big ass shot and here's some pills. I took the prescription out in my name, so they'll be able to trace it back to me. What?
It was a weird, like, subterfuge. Oh, I say, I'm so sorry to call you. Can you come and make a house call and look at Rocco? Oh, no problem. And then this whole thing, like, well, I won't say anything because you're a Spencer and, oh, we got to keep this hush. It's just so weird.
And it was bad medical practice. I'm sorry, you see red streaks going up a kid's arm, you're like, I'm calling the ambulance.
Right.
It's
And where did he get
oh
all
well.
his antibiotics from? They're just sitting in his bag?
They're probably left over from Africa, and he's just been carrying them around since then. They're expired.
This
but we
expired
hope they'll
last
work.
year. It's still good. It'll still work. Let me just, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird, before Jordan's
Oh,
accident, when Jordan was extolling the virtues of her life to her new bestie, Justine, what is that fitness, that Aurora fitness place? It looks like a bad corporate gym. It's
yeah.
like you've got wall climbing, treadmills, free weights, and a yoga class all in the same room. What
Every
is that?
time they show that, I have an olfactory response. It's like I can smell how that gym smells in the middle of this big corporate building. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And they don't even have any windows open or anything.
Like I said, bad. And believe me, I've seen my share of bad corporate gyms over the course of my lifetime. That is a bad corporate gym where their solution to everything is, we're going to put it all in one room so people can decide what they're going to do. And it's like nobody bumps into each other. Nobody's cleaning off their equipment. Nobody's concerned about anything.
Well, at least they showed
Weird.
Jordan sweaty after her yoga class.
That's
So
true.
at least there was a little verisimilitude there. But
Oh,
whoa.
and then she comes home. She hasn't even showered at the corporate gym. She has to come home and then go shower and, before they go out to Luisa's, this fancy new restaurant that apparently is off Route 91, the infamous Route 91 with the big boulder,
Boulders, yeah.
the big boulders,
And no streetlights.
and no street markings. And no, at least we know Charlotte and Danny were at mile marker 35, whatever that.
Yes. Right. Well, there you go.
So Carly and Val could find them.
Now, I don't know the geography of upstate New York. Is it mountainous?
No.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
So it's now time to pause and do a little geography lesson again about New York. So
Thank you.
upstate New York is everything that's upstate of New York City. So that would include Westchester County, Albany, straight up.
Okay.
Western New York, which is where Rochester and Buffalo and Syracuse, where Port Charles is where they are. They're in Western New York. So what was your question about Western New York?
Okay, so does Western New York have mountains?
Not generally.
For serious, they look like Joshua Tree out in the desert of California, not New York.
Well, we'll never forget good old Jacksonville, Florida, and its
Yes.
many
The beaches of Jacksonville, yes.
many palm trees and rolling hills.
You remember the days when they would do cool location shots and stuff? I mean, they just don't have the budget for it anymore, but it was great when they would.
And they would do
everybody-
that. I remember when they would go to Rochester and film extensively.
Yeah.
Those were great. Yeah. Didn't see too many mountains or boulders back then. Just a harbor.
Hey, before we wrap up this thing, I want to talk about Sidwell, and
Let's talk about
He-
Sidwell.
he's like the threat king of Port Charles. I mean, who isn't under his thumb at this point? And I have to say, Ava coming over and sitting with him and expressing how her condolences about Marco, and you can talk to me about anything. And he turns to her and he goes, well, I have kind of confided in you a few things I haven't told other people. And Ava's like, yes, you have. And I love that. Thank you. And he's like, so I would hope you wouldn't share this with anyone else. And Ava's like, dude, did you just threaten me? Because that was not okay.
Yeah. What about Britt begging for her job? Now, again, it's like Nathius is sort of like straddling like how to handle
Yeah.
Sidwell. I'm sort of in charge, but we still answer to him, but I'm Faison's son. I'm still not clear on that.
Well, remember when Cullum showed up, we thought Cullum was the big boss who was holding the reins.
There's always the big boss.
Right, but I don't know that that's accurate because, of course, we're deep in Pikeman 2026 and nobody knows what's going on.
Well, because our latest thing is, oh, Cullum, the big boss. Well, he just handles the drugs that are not FDA approved.
And
that
the
are only
cold
WSB
fusion.
approved.
Right. And also the cold fusion project that needs a prototype. I don't quite understand, but you're right. The whole thing about Cassius, and I'm just going to call him that because it's so
Yeah.
dumb. Cassius begging Sidwell to forgive Britt, but then he's also kind of threatening his sister that she needs to shape up or he's not going to protect her anymore. And we learned that they've only met 2 years ago. What?
Yeah. It's like, I want to like Cassius, Nathius, but I mean, he's certainly more interesting now. Gotta give him that.
Yeah.
But it's
But
like,
we don't-
boy, did he have a wait? Did he have a long wait to get to this point?
Yeah, when did he come back? In September of last year?
So, yeah, 7, 8
Yeah.
months ago. Yeah.
So that's how long it's taken us to figure this much out. And I'm sure we're just at the tip of the iceberg when it comes to information, assuming we ever get the rest of the information.
And he did say he loves James. So
Yeah.
I guess we can assume he is interested in Lulu.
Yeah.
God knows why, but he is. Now Maxie is sort of, and we don't know, Maxie's sort of like now disappeared again because the last time we saw her, she was telling Jens, oh, this is not over. She wants him out of deception. And of course, now Lucy and her cockamamie scheme
What
she
was
told to
that?
Brooklyn while they were, hoisting back the wine. That got confusing very quickly. And what man has Ava killed? I believe she's never killed a man. She killed Connie Falconeri.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, she's indirectly responsible possibly for
For
Morgan
Morgan.
and for AJ's deaths, but she never actually killed a man as far as we know. But so I was a little confused about that proclaimment from Lucy this week.
Just so we're clear, everyone, Lucy doesn't really have a plan. But one of the plot whispers, well, or spoilers or whatever that people are suggesting out there is that Sidwell will actually kill Maxie off, and that will put her off the canvas permanently. And I don't think that's going to happen, but it could.
No,
But I don't
yeah.
think so.
So after all this, who is your character of the week?
Well, I'm gonna say Carly because
Yeah.
Carly was great this week. We got to see her work through things with the kids. We got to see her talk
Mhm.
to Valentine. We got to see her conflicted and making hard decisions about Jack. So yeah, Carly is my character of the week.
Okay.
What about you, David?
My character of the week is Dr. Andy Park, who used to be Dr. Andy Lacey. We had a name change. He's been on for like 10 years, 11 years now, and he's had a name change. And it's like, why aren't there stories with him? Dr. Park and Dr. Navarro. I want to see actual stories. I don't want them just popping up randomly when like Britt isn't available to be your obstetrician, or, Lucas isn't around or something. So we got to have, another doctor. I miss I miss those supporting character doctors and nurses like Dina. And heck, I'll even take annoying Amy at this point. When was the last time we saw Amy? It's been
We haven't seen
years.
Amy in ages. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you in all those things because we have to remember that the name of the show is not Charlie's or it's not Sunny Corinthos. It's General Hospital. So things need to be focused on. I mean, as I've said before, Beyond the Gates has more realistic hospital things than General Hospital does. So I agree with you. And I love Andy Park. I love that character. I love Dr. Navarro. You're right. These are great people. It would be interesting.
Well, and again, since we've lost Selena Wu and we've lost Mr. Lee, the only Asian representation we have on a semi-regular basis is Brad.
Andy. Oh, and Brad. Yeah, Brad too. Yeah.
So we need Dr. Park somehow back in the mix.
Oh, and we need Selena back. I love that. Oh, there was a medical thing I wanted to say about Isaiah. Isn't Isaiah a transplant surgeon? Isn't that his specialty? That was my impression initially. And he had all these, moral crises about how whatever.
Right.
He knows Jordan has only one kidney.
Right,
He
which they
knows
did
this
mention
about
this
her.
week. Yeah.
Right. And of course, he doesn't know what happened in the accident, except that Jordan and Curtis were in a serious accident and Jordan was injured. It seems to me that Isaiah should have gone ding, ding, ding. Oh no, Jordan only has one kidney. I'd better get down there. I don't know.
No,
That's
it
just
was
me.
just like the whole conversation was like, do you want to go down there? Nah. Do you? Nah, it's okay. I'll get back into bed.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway,
maybe they'll change their mind this week. I don't know. This upcoming week. Well, let's move on to a soap recommendation.
Oh, yes.
This is the big one. This is a big chunk. This is like an assignment. This is book club times 6. I'm going to recommend this week. Now, a lot of people have watched the Heated Rivalry television series. Big hit, of course, with all demographics, not just LGBTQ plus people, but with straight women, with straight men, with hockey players. It's amazing. So that's a good recommendation. But instead, I'm going to recommend the books. It's called the Game Changers series. It's by author Rachel Reed, who apparently these days women write gay men sex better than gay men, because there's not too many gay men writing these LGBTQ plus romances anymore. It's been taken over by women. And the Game Changer series is a series of 6 books. The first one, which is called Game Changer, which was written in 2018, focuses on Scott Hunter and Kip Grady, who are two of the characters that have their own episode in the
Right, episode 3, yeah.
series. Yeah. Then the second book, Heated Rivalry, is what the series focuses on, the romance, the very long romance between Shane Hunter and Ilya Rozanov. Book 3 is Tough Guy, features two other characters, Ryan Price and Fabian Sala. Book 4 is called Common Goal. That was written in 2020. That follows Eric Bennett and Kyle Swift. Book 5 is called Role Model, which came out in 2021 and features Troy Barrett and Harris Drover. And then, of course, Book 6, The Long Game, which continues the
Shane and
story of
Ilya's.
Shane and Ilya. And there is a 7-book called Unrivaled, and that's coming out next year in 2027. They're already working on season 2, frantically trying to get that to air as quickly as possible. So while you're waiting for that, read the books, and they're all great. And it's nice editorially. It's nice to see an LGBTQ plus story have a happy ending,
Yeah. Oh,
which is very rare.
it took me a long time to watch it. Like, I started the first episode 3 times, and I was like, I knew I had to be in the mood for it.
Yeah.
But it was last week or the week before I finished it up, and I have to tell you, that last episode may be one of my favorite things I've ever watched on television. It was just beautiful. I loved it.
It was funny because a lot of my friends were like struggling with those first 2 episodes. And I love the first 2 episodes. I love the whole thing. But I kept telling them the first 2 episodes are very necessary. It seems like it jumps a lot. And it does. It jumps a lot through time because you're going through all these different seasons. And it's all the buildup for the rest of the series. But a lot of, a lot of my gay male friends, they're very impatient. They want things immediately. And I'm like, no. If you didn't have the buildup, you wouldn't get that satisfying conclusion when it does conclude. So
I loved it. I have not read the books. Anyone who watches the Old Lady podcast knows romance is a tricky genre for me. It's just not my favorite, but I'm kind of thinking I may at least read the Heated Rivalry book. I don't think you need to read them in order, or you need to read them in order if you're going to read all of them, but I think you can pluck out the Heated Rivalry book if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. Now, what about Bridgerton? Have you read those books? I know you watched the series.
Yes, I have. I haven't read all of the Bridgerton books, but I did read them. And I have to say, I love the TV series more.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I haven't read them all, but the ones I've read so far, it's like, okay, and they did, what I liked is they did adhere to the books pretty well.
The premise, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There was very little that was changed, which I always respect when an author or an auteur can do that. But
yeah.
So while we wait for next week or the next book I'm going to read, do we have any text messages to read?
I haven't heard from Nina about this week's show, except on the day that David posted the lyrics to Trina's song. And for those of you who aren't on the page, I'll probably include those lyrics in the description of the video because they were so hilarious. Nina wrote back and she's like, oh my gosh, David absolutely nailed it. That was hilarious. So I agree. That was one of my favorite snarks we've done in years. So we don't need Marshall to have Hat Daddy poems anymore. We just need Trina to get up and sing.
Really anyone to get up and sing because, General Hospital has a knack for writing these songs that are just, it's like they're almost there, but they just don't really cut it.
But let's say this. Whoever wrote that song, I am so glad you got this gig because being a composer in LA is no fun. So congratulations.
I remember years ago, I was in a gay piano bar and there was some sort of local celebrity. This was back when I lived in Chicago. And there was some local celebrity and he kept singing these songs. And it was sort of like that Trina song. And I remember turning to my friend at one point and said, why are all the songs about love and balloons? because it was just, and that sticks with me when I see a song like that, because it's just like these nonsense things that are supposed to be like romantic or, brave or show how strong you are. It's just like, it's the sum of the parts don't equal the total.
Well, you
These
gotta
songs.
have songs or you can't do a montage, and you gotta do a montage when there's a crash because
Right.
that's the way it's done. It's the law, people. They can't do it any other way.
And I know we can't have the things we used to have because they're too expensive, but I do miss the days when they were just able to pick a pop song out and it worked. And,
Right.
and right now I'm thinking of Think of Laura, Christopher
Yeah.
Cross's song, which they
Yes.
plugged into the Luke and Laura story, and it worked so beautifully. We can't afford those things. Soaps don't have those
Well,
budgets anymore, but
what we need is Taylor Swift to and her boyf to get addicted to General Hospital, and then we write her a letter and we say, "Taylor, you know how much you love General Hospital? Well, we got the nurses ball coming up. We need to use one of your songs." And she'll be like, "Sure, no problem." Because I
or
live in that fantasy world.
Or she could start writing songs for Carly. So when Carly inevitably dumps Jack Brennan, she can sing a song about dumping Jack Brennan.
They're never, ever,
Work with Jake
ever.
Gyllenhaal. It can work with Jack Brennan. Anyway,
This was
that
a
does
silly
it for us.
snarkcast, David.
It was a silly Snarkcast this week,
It was a silly snarkcast.
but that's okay.
It is
Anyway,
okay.
that does it for us. Please, again, like, subscribe. We're everywhere. Check out, if you're not a paid subscriber, become one, and you can check out that great Paolo Presta interview. Or you can wait patiently, and in a few weeks we'll post it. But anyway, we value your support. We value your comments. Please keep commenting. Please keep supporting. We love you guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everyone.